Hopefully we get some rain in the next couple of days. We're really short of rain around here, especially for this time of the year. So supposedly it's going to rain today, tomorrow, and Saturday. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to know that it will rain. In the Native American culture, when they used to do rain dance, it was actually a spiritual exercise, and it was building up their belief system that the intention they were putting out to the Great Spirit was going to bring down rain. So it wasn't just some kind of magic thing, the dance. No, it was actually a spiritual exercise in which they were praying for rain and knowing that they were going to get rain. So it's quite different. Today's reading is also a little bit different. It's actually really up to date. I'm not quite sure if the title is a play on words, and you'll find out why. If you don't, I'll explain why as we go through it. So today's been a pretty busy day. The reason I'm so late is because I was on hold for, well, let's put it this way. I was trying to contact a group because I had to get a copy of a charter of a Toastmasters club. And I was actually waiting for 2 hours. And because it was a callback, I couldn't leave the phone. I had to stay there near the phone because I didn't want to get in the middle of this broadcast. And then all of a sudden they call, and I got to take the call because I don't want another 2 hours to go by. So I waited until after their closing time, and they didn't call back. So that's the end of it. And I am having my cup of chamomile tea as we speak. Now, down to business. Belief fuels intention. Beliefs fuel intention. Beliefs fuel intention, which sounds quite, how shall I say, metaphysical, right? Beliefs fuel intention. That's what we believe. Eric Butterworth, from whom we heard just a few days ago in the same book, Spiritual Economics. And by the way, it is a good book. I recommended it at the time. I recommend it again. And on page 81, he says, when you believe you can do it, the how to do it develops. This is the way the creative process works in the individual. And this, I'm sure he's quoting from Thomas Troward. We don't teach Thomas Troward anymore at Creative Life. Why? Because it turns out he was a racist. However, Ernest Holmes did get a lot of his ideas from him. And this thing that Eric Butterworth is quoting today, this is the way the creative process in the individual works. I think Troward said works in the individual, but same thing. Is almost verbatim from Troward. And you could say it's verbatim from Ernest Holmes because he got it from him. And Butterworth is using it. Butterworth was a contemporary of Ernest Holmes, but he was born later and he lived longer. So there you are. Bottom line is, on that word belief, and I think, personally, I think it goes beyond belief. I think it goes to knowingness. When you just simply know that something is going to happen, Spirit will find a way for it to happen. It may not be in exactly the way that you envision it because, as I said, we always leave the back end open for Spirit to give us the very best. Not exactly what we ask for, but what is actually the best for us and for everybody else. Ernest Holmes says, therefore, our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which of itself is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite. Hard for our minds to get around the idea of infinite. We can imagine huge, ginormous. We can imagine a universe that is truly massive. But to actually get our minds around infinite, whether it's time or space, is not something that we're equipped to do very well. Excuse me. So anyway, where did that fly come from? Anyway, there we are. Therefore, our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle, capital, which of itself, capital, is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite. In other words, it's got an infinite storehouse, not a physical storehouse, but it's got this spiritual storehouse, this mental storehouse, like in the field, in the quantum field, where everything exists in a state of probability, but it doesn't come into reality until a conscious mind focuses on it. And then it does, as we talked about before, that quantum collapse, which brings it into physical existence. I wish this fly would go away. The next part, it's actually about sustainability in the earth. It's pretty good. She says, in various sectors worldwide, people examine how to operate more sustainably as we seek to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and be better stewards of our planet. For United Airlines, this means eliminating greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. I don't see the fly, but I feel it. I did see it once, but then it's vanished. Anyway, fly, go away until I finish. Gene, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Gebols, CEO of the biofuel energy company World Energy, admits that this goal of 2050 by United Airlines is extremely ambitious, and reaching it will require substantial innovation. When asked by a Tribune News service reporter if the goal was attainable, he responded, "Do I think it's possible? Absolutely." So in other words, the idea that it's extremely ambitious doesn't rule out the fact that it's possible. This fly has got to go. Part of reaching this goal depends on using sustainable aviation fuel. In December 2021, United Airlines made history by fueling one engine of a 737 MAX entirely with biofuel made from used cooking oil and waste fat from beef, pork, and chicken. Personally, I hope they can find a way to do it from something that doesn't involve killing cows, pigs, or chickens. In other words, some vegetable source. Future efforts will involve using technology that makes planes lighter, more efficient, and more aerodynamic, and eventually using hybrid or all-electric aircraft in place of those with combustion engines. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that because you're still going to get the thrust. I don't know how the electric engine is going to give the thrust, but I assume it is possible. The belief is there, and that is what will propel the industry, and I would say many others, to realize its intention of being a good environmental steward. In addition, we know that when we set an intention, the universe, God I prefer, rushes in to fulfill it. I have no doubt that the law of mind, capitalized, already created a myriad ways in which to bring this intention into form, ways that haven't even shown up yet on our human radar. So this is talking about helping the planet. How can we help the planet? Well, we can do our bit with our recycling, and we can just know in our spiritual mind treatments, in our prayers, that these ways are found to actually bring this about, to bring about a sustainable planet, that we actually get rid of the greenhouse gas emissions and or capture them and change them into something manageable and bring down, not increase, but bring down the global temperature. So one of my goals when I'm in prayer is to actually know that this is true, and to know that the global temperature is not only not increasing, but it's actually decreasing slightly, which only helps the planet. Last summer, my wife was just reading that last summer, which was the hottest on record, lots of people in Arizona died because the temperatures here were awful, right? We ended up with triple-digit temperatures for a day, weeks on end, which we never get. But in Arizona, it was even hotter. It was kind of like when I was back in Saudi Arabia. So we really do need to get on the bandwagon and do our bit. Use less energy, use sustainable fuels wherever we can, recycle, and dare I say it, when we move towards even a partially vegetarian diet, we're actually helping to reduce carbon emissions because animals produce a lot of the gases that are byproducts of their feeding and releasing it. So it's a well-known fact that when we reduce, especially our beef consumption, then we start to actually reduce the emissions as well. So that's one of my ways. I gave up beef a long time ago, and I gave up pork, I gave up chicken, turkey. I will occasionally eat chicken and turkey. I'm not so strict. I'm not asking everybody else to do this. That would be unreasonable. But what I'm asking everybody is to find out what is your way that you can help the planet become more sustainable. That's one thing. The second thing is that whatever's going on in our life, when we can truly believe that what it is that we want happens, it will happen. Spirit will find a way for it to happen, whether it's a healing, it's a new house, it's a new car, whatever it is, a new friendship. Spirit will find a way for this to happen when we truly believe it, and we go into spiritual mind treatment, into affirmative prayer, and we affirm this with belief. It's going to happen. And when you say this is something better, you're probably going to get something even better than what it was that you were praying for in the first place. So that's my lesson for today. My apologies once again for anybody who tried to get on at 5 o'clock and I wasn't here because, as I said, I was stuck waiting for a phone call that never came. Hopefully tomorrow. In fact, I know tomorrow I will contact them and I will find the information I want. So how about that? And the affirmation goes right along with that. I set my intentions and back them with the belief that they are on their way into my experience. This is that second part that I was talking about. This is the key. I set my intentions and back them with the belief that they are on their way into my experience. So with that, just know that the light of God surrounds us and the love of God enfolds us and the power of God protects us and the presence of God watches over us, because everywhere we are, God is and always will. Go in peace, go in love, go and take care of yourselves. And until next time, namaste.